It was our 10th wedding anniversary. The kind of milestone you expect to be marked with wine, laughter, and maybe a weekend trip to the coast. I had cooked his favorite meal, jollof rice, grilled tilapia, and plantain, spiced with care, just the way his late mother used to make it. The kids were at my sister's place for the night. I had even worn the silver dress he once said made me look like a queen. But when Chuka walked through the door that evening, his eyes didn't light up. He looked annoyed. "Happy anniversary, love," I said, walking up to him with a smile. I leaned in to kiss him, but he turned slightly, letting the kiss land on his cheek instead of his lips. My heart skipped. Not in a good way. He walked past me into the sitting room and slumped onto the couch. "We need to talk." I froze. That phrase. Those 4 words that always meant bad news. I walked in behind him, cautiously. "What is it?" I asked. He didn't even look at me. "I want a divorce." Just like that. No explanation. No warning. Nothing. The room spun. What?" I stammered. "Is this some kind of joke?" He stood up, adjusted his wristwatch, and spoke calmly, too calmly. "We both know this marriage hasn't been working for a while. I can't keep pretending. I've already spoken to a lawyer." The world stopped. 10 years. 10 years of my life. Waking up early to get the kids ready. Sacrificing my career as a nurse so we could move closer to his job. Running a small baking business from home just to support the house. Smiling through his late-night outings, the silent treatments, the flirtations he thought I didn't see. And this was how he repaid me. On the very night we were supposed to celebrate our union. I sat down, numb. My fingers trembled against the fabric of the cushion. "Why now?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He shrugged. "Why not now? You'll be fine. You're strong. I'll take care of the kids' fees." His words cut deeper than a blade. He sounded so detached, like I was just another contract being terminated. No guilt. No remorse. He walked toward the bedroom, probably to pack a bag, and that's when I noticed a faint red lipstick smudge on his shirt collar. Not mine. Of course. It all began to make sense. The distant looks. The late nights. The extra cologne. I had suspected, but I had wanted to believe he was just stressed from work. I had convinced myself to be patient, that marriage goes through phases. But what I saw tonight wasn't a phase. It was an ending. But endings, I realized, could be rewritten. I got up, calm as ever. "All right, Achuka," I said, my voice steady now. "Since we are being honest tonight, there's something I need to show you too." He raised an eyebrow, half amused. "What now?" I walked to the drawer by the TV stand and pulled out a brown envelope. Inside it was a letter I had drafted 3 months earlier but never sent until now. The letter was addressed to him and stamped by the family lawyer. It was an official notice of eviction. Chuka frowned. "What is this?" I handed it to him. "Read it." He opened the letter and his face slowly turned pale. "I bought this house last year," I said, watching his eyes dart across the paper. "It's in my name. You remember the land documents your uncle was helping us process? He put them under my name, as per your instructions, because you were too busy. The deed of assignment, the mortgage. All mine. And I've been paying it off from my bakery earnings." He stared at me, stunned. I never said anything because I believed this was our home. I thought we were building something together. But if you're walking away from the marriage, then you're walking away from this house too. Silence filled the room. He looked like someone who had just realized he was standing on a cliff's edge. But you can't just kick me out, he said. I nodded slowly. You're right. That's why the letter gives you 30 days to vacate. He clutched the letter like it would disintegrate in his hands. You've been planning this? No, I said. I was preparing for just in case. The rest of the night passed in a blur. He didn't eat. He barely spoke. He just kept pacing, muttering under his breath. As I lay in bed that night, alone, I felt a mixture of pain and power. It hurt. God, it hurt. But there was also a strange sense of liberation, like I had finally reclaimed my story. The morning after was unnervingly quiet. Chuka didn't go to work. He sat on the veranda, staring blankly at the street like a man watching the end of his world. I moved through the house as usual, sweeping, baking for a client's birthday order, watering my aloe plants. But my chest was heavy. He finally spoke around noon. Are you really going through with this? He asked, not looking at me. Yes, I said without hesitation. I made a mistake, he mumbled, rubbing his hands together. I shouldn't have said what I said last night. I looked at him, I really looked at him. The man I had married was once bold, passionate, full of charm. Now he looked like a wilting leaf, unsure of his footing. But I knew better than to let temporary guilt rewrite years of silent neglect. Chuka, you didn't just say it. You meant it. You filed papers. You were ready to discard me. I just had the audacity to respond. He didn't reply. That evening, his phone rang. I saw the name flash across the screen, Tonya Redheart. His hands trembled as he picked up, walking away quickly to answer. I didn't follow him. I didn't need to. I already knew the truth, the other woman existed, and she was probably the reason for his sudden boldness. But love built on betrayal is a house without a foundation. It always collapses. That night, he didn't sleep at home. By the end of the third week, Chuka had moved out. He took his clothes, some files, and his framed university certificate. Everything else, furniture, electronics, the art on the walls, remained. I had bought most of it anyway. The children were confused at first, asking when Daddy would return. I sat them down, gently explaining that sometimes grown-ups make decisions that change the way families live, but it doesn't mean love disappears. The day he came for the final box, he paused at the door. Are you really going to be okay without me? I smiled softly. I already was, Chuka. I just didn't realize it. He stood still, as if waiting for me to say something else. But I had nothing more to give. When he left, I locked the door behind him. Not out of bitterness, but finality. In the weeks that followed, I felt grief. I won't lie. There were moments I missed the idea of him, the early days, the small moments, the shared dreams. But each time, I reminded myself, I didn't lose a partner. I lost a man who was never willing to fight for me. And I gained myself. The bakery began to thrive. I enrolled in a women's empowerment program and even hired 2 assistants. The house was quieter, but more peaceful. I started journaling. Healing. Living. Sometimes, strength looks like walking away. Other times, it looks like standing your ground. And for anyone watching, especially women who feel unseen in their own homes, know this: love yourself enough to choose dignity over desperation. Because the most powerful revenge is peace.